Bro. Brotherly Gaming. Games change the world, son. Games change the world. Welcome back, folks, to our new episode of Games That Change the World, or our world as we appreciate them. And for today, we'll be talking about Hitman. Not just Hitman Contracts, not just Hitman Absolutions, not just Hitman Codename 47, but all 6 of the Hitman franchise. And this is a franchise that I hold near and dear to my heart. I was 13 years old when the very first Hitman Codename 47 came out, and I was ecstatic when my parents bought it for me and I was able to play it on the PC all the way back in November of 2000. And this is a game that has kept going on and on after that release. They had multiple releases almost every 2 years, and we had a gap and a huge renovation within the game. So for those who are not familiar with the game of Hitman, it is a very open world based game, but it's also very confined within the levels, and you have the complete freedom to eliminate your contract as you see fit, any means that you can. You can go in guns blazing, you can take them out with a sniper rifle from across the map, or you can sneak up and get stealthy with the fiber wire. And it's a very exciting game. There are tons of mechanics and techniques. In one of the newer games, they've also introduced mission designs where you design your own contracts and you post them online and see if people can take out the person that you can take out and set the example of within the mission. And it's just one of those games that has been a front runner game, in my opinion, in the design of games and things that have really changed and innovated the gaming industry. This game is developed by Eidos Interactive as well as Square Enix, and a couple others here and there. As the time has gone, new developers have jumped on, but Square Enix just really pulled it through with this game, and they did not stop with the improvements every single game that came out. So we'll go through a timeline. As I said, in the year 2000, in November, Hitman 47 was released. I remember just being captivated by the essence of this game and what it was and how it led you to believe that, and keep in mind, this is the year 2000. I thought, and I was 13, I thought that you're just playing a game where you take out assassination contracts and that's all there is to it. And it turned out to be far more in depth than that. And it went on into how the Hitman was made and why you were assassinating the people that you were. And I would strongly suggest playing it. It would be hard nostalgia-wise for me. I know it's hard going back and play it because, you know, it's an 18-year-old game. It's been out there for a while, but it was just so much fun. They had an amazing jungle mission in there, which was so fun to play at the time. You had a level where you had to go into a hotel, and one of your targets was like in a spa, and you go out to the pool. And I remember my little sister, who's 5 years younger than me, would watch me play it and always say, dump the bodies in the pool. It's just great memories, and that's really what, you know, gaming is about, is making these great memories and challenges and things of that nature. And it definitely developed it in the original Hitman 47 that came out all the way back 18 years ago. And that was closely followed up in October of 2002 by Hitman Silent Assassin that furthered on in the game. And you had these amazing Russian levels, and you had levels that were in Afghanistan. And, you know, I don't think they meant it, but I always knew that there was a mission in there where you killed Osama bin Laden. And it was so obvious it was Osama bin Laden. It looked just like him. And good job for the year 2002. Enix Square knew exactly what they were doing with that. And it was just an amazing mission. They also had missions in India. And this is one of those games where it just takes you around the world. And it does a really good job in like adapting culture, and especially with, like, you know, having to change costumes and change your outfit and things like that, so you can blend in with the scenery and the territory that you're in. And the game just continued on and on and on with giving you new locations and different places to go. And it was so fun. And I remember, you know, the India mission where you had to go in, and these, I don't want to spoil anything because it was so good. And even though these games are very old, if you played the new Hitman that came out and you haven't gone back, if you really, really enjoy that game, I would totally go back. I'm sure you can buy a whole collection for like $40. It'd be well worth your time if you enjoy the series. We got Hitman Contracts, which was released in April of 2004. And they actually went through and remastered the Hong Kong mission and a couple other missions too that were in the first two games. And then they gave you a ton of backstory about 47, the main protagonist in the Hitman series, and really kind of in depth with the lore, what makes him tick, because for the first couple games, he's just a stone cold killer. You really don't know what makes him work. And because of how he was made, without giving too much away, you know, they lead you to believe that that's just how he is. And it turns out it's so much more to it. And even though I feel Contracts was the weaker of the 6 games that have been released, it just did wonders for the lore if you get into the lore. It was a great pickup, and I was super happy I bought it. And then in 2006, we got Hitman Blood Money. And I remember Hitman Blood Money being the game that really innovated it. You know, everything was just improved. So many things were changed. You had upgradable weapons, you had different attachments, you could choose your loadouts. They brought back being able to pack and unpack a sniper rifle in a suitcase, which just made the game tons more fun. It was available in the first game, I believe in a couple of missions in the second game, and then it was left out of the third one. They reintroduced it, and it was such a good call to do that. It takes very fine detail to the little things. And for someone who enjoys all types of games, from RTSs to mobile mass games, you know, it's the little things that really, really matter. And the attention to detail, and Blood Money just really shined through with that. And it took us all the way to 2014 with Hitman Absolution. And it was so good. Hitman Absolution was one of the most linear story Hitmans that there ever was. It had a line, you know, and it was also one of the first games where you had almost all your mission base, if not all your mission base, in America, which, like I said, I mean, you had India, you had Afghanistan, you had Russia, you had Pakistan, you had the hotel mission, which I can't remember what country the hotel mission was, but it definitely wasn't, you know, in America. And then they finally brought it, and you could go to these different locations in America. I just remember being so cool that they did that. And you got the Saints, where you're hiding out in the hotel because you're saving a person, and these Saints come in and they're all dressed up and they're just badass, and they blow up the hotel you're in, and you got to run out. And there was a couple of really cool chase scenes, and it was a very, you know, it wasn't hugely appreciated within like the Hitman, you know, fanboy club. But as one that appreciates change and likes to keep things evolving and doing different things within a game and not just making a reshell after a reshell, they really broke the mold with Absolution. And I really have to hand it to them with that, to go from a game that is very lightly story-based to a whole game just being completely story-based, and you go from this location to this location because you're running or because you have to go. It was very, very cool. It added a little more stress to the game, a little more importance to it. The game as a whole at that point tied together in a way that I didn't feel that the other Hitman missions all tied together until like you got to basically 3/4 of the game, and then you kind of realize what's going on and how everything's tied together, or if there's some sort of conspiracy at play or things like that. And this was one that was just, it was almost a non-stop action game within the Hitman franchise from beginning to end, and it was cool. And I remember the one thing that stands out, I remember you could disguise as a scarecrow and hide in a cornfield and wait till they come by, and you can come the guy as you're dressed up as a scarecrow. It's just really, really cool. And there's many other things that were amazing within that game, but it's just those little things that really stand out that really made it for me. And then we have the 2017 release of just Hitman, basically a revitalization of the Hitman series. And I was upset with the way that the developers chose to release this game. I shouldn't say the developer, the publisher chose to release this game, because they set it up, and it was very unfortunate because I wanted to play the whole game. I didn't want to wait months on end for this game to be released. But they set it up to where you could buy $15 and you get the first mission and the introduction. And then a few months later, they'll give you another level. And then a few months later, they give you another level. You gotta pay $10. I think they might have went down to $7 at one point. And I didn't play it, even though I was a huge fan of Hitman. When companies choose to make decisions like that, I'll back off from it, because your money is what talks. It doesn't matter what your mouth says. Where you spend your money is where it shows what really matters. And so I held off, and I waited all the way until January of 2017 to finally play Hitman. And it was a pleasant wait. I made the right call. I feel I made the right call with waiting until the whole game was released, because it was an amazing experience. It has tons of replayability. All of the games have tons of replayability. Absolution, not so much, but this new Hitman that came out last year of 2017, it's just, they don't stop doing new things with it. New contracts are put out all the time. It's so much fun, and if I could just sit back and play, I would just sit back and play. That's one of those games where it never gets old to me, and it's fun, and it's fun to watch. And that's one of those things that it's a rarity in a game. Everyone likes playing a game if they're playing it, but actually have a game to sit down and that like a girlfriend or a wife or a father or a mother will sit down and watch, because it's actually entertaining. It's hard to find, especially in a game like Hitman, where it's a little more strategic and the base is slight different. Because there's just that suspense, and you're watching your target, and you're setting up the window to make sure that you can jump in at a certain time. And they did a great job, and just so many different things. Like just in one of the training missions where they like, we're gonna see how good you are. You go in here and you take this target out, and there's got to be about 20 different ways in the training mission where you can take the guy out. And there's so many different cool ways. I remember my father actually went down and was watching me, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll blow this guy out of the cockpit with the emergency ejection malfunction. And he's like, oh, no kidding, what else can you do? And I'll play through the mission again. And once you go and you get to learn everything, you can just run through and do it within like 5 minutes. But you have the whole time where you gotta acclimate yourself to it, where you gotta explore it and learn it and see how it goes. And it's just, it's one of those things where I wish more developers would take pieces from Hitman and put them to other games, because there's just so much. It's a gold game. All the 6 games are gold in my opinion. They're worth their weight. You can get the original Hitman for probably like $2 on Steam, and it's definitely worth the $2 without a doubt. Honestly, in my opinion, I'd spend $15 on it if they were selling it for $15. And this is a game that's 18 years old. The very first Hitman is what I'm talking about. And they just created a really ultimate gaming experience for a player that likes strategy, that likes waiting it out and having there be a payoff within the game, with anticipation and reward systems, and depending on how you want to play, will reward you on how you're playing. And it was just an amazing job, and it's a game that will always live on with me, even if they stop at the 2017 release of Hitman. It's a game that I'm never going to get rid of, and it's a game that will definitely pop in and play. I hold on to my systems. I still have the 360s and the PlayStation 2s and the computer games. So it's something that if you haven't experienced before, I highly recommend it. It is a blast. It's extremely fun to play, and the opportunities are endless within these missions. And to go through chronologically and see all the advancements that were made year after year after year. Like in the first Hitman, it was amazing to see, 15 years ago, 80 NPCs in a map. And then you go in to Blood Money where you're in Mardi Gras, and there's hundreds and hundreds of NPCs within the map. And then you get into the 2017, and there's got to be close to over 1,000. There has to be over 1,000. There's some maps that are so big and have so many people in them that it's a feat for me anyway. I see it as a huge feat to program that and to bring that all together and have it work fluidly and have it be believable and bring you in to actually have you care about it. This is a game that I would absolutely recommend you picking up if you've tried any of the Hitman and you like those games. And even if you haven't tried any of the Hitmans, check out some Let's Plays. Outside Xbox has a hilarious team, and this is one of the games that I think they stream more than they've done anything else, because it's so much fun and it's fun to watch. So if you haven't seen this game before, if you've never heard of the Hitman series before, check out some videos, give it a look, and it might be worth a purchase. If it isn't, let me know. If it is, let me know anyway. We appreciate it, and I appreciate you spending your time with me, and I'll see you next time with Final Notice Media. Let me get those high twos. Check out some Let's Plays. You son of a bitch. Yeah, when you're done, I'll give it. Welcome back, folks. God damn it. Welcome back to Final Notice Media.